Good evening, everyone. I guess good morning to some and good afternoon to some as well. Thank you for joining us at our webinar today. I know with the time change, some of you wasn't too sure what time it was starting, but we're glad to have you all here today. Especially because we are very excited to introduce our new line of trips called Elite Expeditions in partnership with the incredible Amos. And I'm sure that's why most of you are here today because you want to listen to him. Amos, I'm sure most of you already know him, is not only a world-renowned wildlife photographer, but he is also a dedicated conservationist. His passion for photographing apex predators like great white sharks, polar bears, anacondas, up close has always been about more than just capturing stunning images. It's about fostering a deeper respect for these incredible creatures and their ecosystems. And I'm sure Amos will talk about how he's captured these amazing images in their natural habitats. Um, Through his photography, Amos aims to inspire action and awareness around conservation, reminding us that the importance of protecting these species and their habitats. Amos will be the trip leader on all our elite expeditions, bringing his expertise and vision to each trip. So again, everyone here came here to listen to Amos, not to me. So I'm gonna now hand it off to Amos. Amos, please.
All right, everybody, thank you very much, team and the team of Bluewater Travel to give me this opportunity and to work with you. For many years, I worked alone with my small team of 1-2 people promoting trips around the world. Till recently, I met Tim in Los Angeles at the scuba show, and that was incredible opportunity between two of us in his bright mind, understanding the business and seeing the potential of working together. So thank you again very much, team, and for your team to be able to work together. I don't know how much time you have, and I don't want to take so much of your time, but I want to be very pinpoint in what I'm delivering and exposing myself or what I do and how I do it for all your people, and see what you like or what you don't like, and how we can possibly meet together on one of the future trip. Let's start from the presentation, and then throughout we can have, if you need to stop and to ask question, you are welcome. Or in the end, of course, I'll be there to answer any question you may have. Let me start from here. And the first picture, as you all see, let me see, okay. Now you see me, and as you know, for what the difference between the picture on the video compared to the picture on the screen, that was almost 45, 50 years ago, what you see the difference in the color of the hair. Now it's silver, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, bad things, good things, different things. But that's how I got to be in the business, and what I'm going to share with you, so many years of experience. And the photography gear, if anybody here know what happened at the time, Nikonos 3 with the legendary 15 millimeter lens, Sikonic light meter, and the housing for a camera, which was Hydro 35 from Oceanic. This is how I start diving. If any one of you now see that how young I was then, this is what we did then. We had to go diving in the Red Sea, which was my home in Israel. When we went diving along the coast of the Sinai, there was no road. And I tried, as you already know, as you will know, and you see more, I more often than not live on the cutting edge and pushing the envelope in a way to create a more powerful, more dynamic understanding of the environment we live in. And that was on the back of a camel to get to the diving reef. Yes, the ocean is 72% of the planet, we all know, and this is much bigger than anything on any land. And therefore, I invested so much of my life diving in underwater. But for perspective, for the first 10 to 15 years of my career, from the mid-70s, or actually from the 67, 68, I dove on many of the beautiful reefs of the world. Start with the Red Sea, and then go to Papua New Guinea, to Galapagos, to the Maldives, to Comoros, to Madagascar, and of course, Indonesia. I've seen beautiful reef, but I also saw a lot of destruction on the reef because of the cumulative period of time, for many reasons, either because of pollution, but mostly what I've seen is a result of anchoring of boat, divers that don't know how to dive, kicking fins, and blowing sand on the reef. I decided to stop, and I decided to go diving mostly, as I did macro photography, but I decided to go to work mostly on Bluewater. At the time, 1988, when I started diving in Bluewater, at the time, nobody was diving in Bluewater. It was completely incomprehensible. And also, I thought that if I dive in Bluewater very deep, sometimes thousands of feet, but only, of course, on the surface, that will not be able to damage the wilderness. I was wrong, and I will talk about it later. So diving on a Bluewater, I did some amazing stuff, diving with great white outside of the cage, diving with sperm whale, totally peaceful, totally joyful, very noisy animal, and very, very gentle animal together with people, or diving with the largest animal on the planet. This is why I call the company the Big Animal Expedition, and together with Bluewater, we're talking about the elite of diving expedition, or diving with peacefully with a Nile croc, because there is a lot of misconception and lack of knowledge about the animal, but is a lot of preconceived idea that the media put in our mind in order to create drama. Croc don't feed underwater. They cannot attack us underwater, because when they open their mouth to attack us, they swallow water like we will if we open our mouth. So they keep the mouth closed. They hold the heartbeat to 3 beats per minute in order to be able to stay in the water. But as soon as our present with them or anything else or other animal disappear, they'll go back on the land. Most of the movie that you've seen, it is croc feeding on the surface, not underwater. And of course, the epic of my career, that today only 6 people ever in history were able to swim or to dive with polar bear underwater. Just to remind you, for perspective, 12 people landed on the moon, and only 6 people today diving with polar bear, and over 6,000 people, Everest, summit Everest. So we are in a good company, and very special company. But in addition to photographing underwater, I went also topside. So what I try to deliver the message, I'm not a businessman, poorly, but I am a photographer, and I take my camera mainly and people with me to understand the wilderness, to connect with the wilderness, come home and tell it to your family, to your friend, and how we expand the knowledge of the world about the importance of wilderness in our life. So I photograph polar bear on land and underwater, gorillas, tigers in India, and jaguar in Brazil, and of course the polar bear in Antarctica. By the way, in 6 days from now, I'll be back with this animal in Antarctica. In my history, I had the chance to work with some of the key people. Most likely, my English is not perfect. It's not as good as my photography anyway. But and I had the chance to work with some of the key people, and that is how I really gained knowledge, or I learned throughout my career, and today to share with you. Anybody know the person on my left or on your right? No,
Yep.
Jacques Cousteau. The person with the black hair is still me, even though I have silver hair today. Anybody know the person on the left here? That is the key of history. Before Jacques Cousteau, Mr. Hans Haas. And if you have a chance to go to library, find this book of Hans Haas, you'll be amazed how much he did together with his wife photographing her in the Red Sea in the mid-40s in pure O2 rebreather to 60 feet or 20 meters, which today is unheard of under any circumstances. When we did not know what we're doing, we did amazing things. And that's perhaps what happened to me when I was diving with the polar bear and the crocodile. But here is the story started. Anybody know the man on the right? Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut, the second astronaut landing on the moon. The middle, Dr. Sylvia Earle, and myself, the person with the silver hair today at the time. And it was 1980 when I brought them with me to the Red Sea. The knowledge of all those people helped me to develop farther and farther, totally safe. Over 7,500 people that travel with me throughout the world looking at the wilderness. I invite you here for 2 minutes, a short video or trailer of the movie that made about my career.
Amos, to me, is one of the best ambassadors of the ocean. It takes a huge amount of risk to bring those images which nobody else has ever been able to capture.
He comes back with images that no one can get. He is probably the best underwater still photographer in the world.
His story was always read in mystery.
He doesn't have a normal life. He doesn't have children. He's married to the ocean.
He has this. He wants to be in the water, close to polar, swim with the biggest predator on Earth.
If Ridley's too turbulent, you're not going to go there.
There's so many factors that can work against you.
All right, guys, we're taking on. Almost and his team had only 5 days to find a polar bear and take the victim.
It's the one animal where humans are part of their food chain. People get eaten by polar bears.
He needs that adrenaline rush. He needs to be at the edge. And if he doesn't do it in one way, he do it in another way. And maybe his military background has a lot to do with it.
What happened to Amos in the army is a mystery to me. He didn't come home, really.
I can see blue sky compared to see flames.
I wonder if there is some kind of unfinished business for all of them.
You're living with yourself and get all the way for it, but else. And this is all the power of beach.
Amos wants to prove that those large animals aren't our enemies, and that we can live with them in harmony. I don't know.
Coming soon to you too, if you want to. So my creative desire has changed course. I want people around the world to stay connected to the power of the importance of nature, even though most of us are conditioned by the media to fear. So I create a company which called Big Animal Expedition, and what I'm going to share with you in topics or in short on different topics, it is an accumulation of about 45 years that I'm doing it. It is why the idea of living on the edge of wilderness, pushing the envelope, living on the edge of comfort and common sense. Because again, the media take advantage of our lack of knowledge because we are so busy growing family, making money and having vacation. We don't pay attention to the most important thing, the detail of life. There will be pollution, if it will be animal behavior and understand. So all of the expedition that I run today are, all expedition dates are scheduled during the prime time to see wildlife. The expedition is focused mainly on witness animal behavior, not just the animal, because there are more pictures of animals than animals in the wild. But there is not enough pictures of animal behavior, which highlight the connection between them, the wildlife, and us. And this is not really what, for them, it is not a wildlife. For them, they live in their own home. Is wilderness for us. For them is home. We're visiting their home. Each expedition has limited number of participants for animal protection and to enhance the photographer and explorer experience. So some trip, I take only 3 or 4 people. And this case to the trip to see the mobile array in Baja, only 4 people on a trip in order to, again, enhance the photographer and the experience of people, even not photography, because then you'll not see other bubble. You don't see somebody else fin. You, for few minutes, you are alone in all this shoal of mobile array, or the chance to be with the orcas. You cannot send 4 or 6 people at a time to see orca, 1 or 2 people at a time. But if the trip goes for 6 days, 2 people in the water, you are always able to have good encounter and satisfactory experience. Top side, if we go to see snow leopard, the 3 people is the second one from the left, the middle one, and the one with the green were my team. Only 3 of us. The other 4 are the other 3 are the crew members that help us to get there. And that is what happened when you are on the out in the Himalaya on 15,000 feet, and that's the purpose, to see the snow leopard and when they are making love or love on the rock. Blue whale, to see blue whale, again, is the largest animal on the planet, but they are very shy. They are very difficult to see them. You may see them on the surface and we see the blow, but to see them in the water is almost impossible. So this trip, we take only 8 people. We go to Seychelles, but in order to reach them, we may reach them by kayak, so we create less noise in the water to be much faster to be able to swim with them. So we have to develop system that allow us as people to be kind to the animal and have a chance to be able to photograph them or to view them. Or when we go out to the high Arctic on a mini cruise ship, which is only for 12 people, but it's a luxury ship, just like here. This is a ship to be in a cold weather, cold environment. And what we're going to see, we're going to look at the polar bear, when the polar bear are actually hunting, and to be able to photograph them from the board of the Zodiac. This is the kind of experiences that for small people we can deliver or can give the privilege really to be close to the wilderness, to be close to the animals. Or when we go to the high Arctic in Canada to look for polar bear roaming on the ice. And again, small group will be able to stay out in the field, have enough logistical to provide comfort for a day or 2 in a tent, and to be able to be very close with the animal and to be able to capture them, or to look at them second in the life of the polar bear and the footsteps and the foot and the ice that flow away from the under the leg or the foot of the polar bear. That's the kind of photography, that's the kind of experience that I like to share. Here we are in Dominica on about look for sperm whale. There are 5 people here, only the group. The other 3 people in color are the local people in Dominica. So only 4 people for 1 week just to swim and to be together in the company of sperm whale. There is nothing better like being with an animal that is almost 40 feet long and look at you in the eyes and understand you, or you understand that and create connection with them. To create the beauty of the gentle, as the animal are not afraid, because only 1 or 2 persons in the water, the animal are not afraid of us or not running away. She let the calf to be between me in this case and her, and let the light shimmering over the body and create this effect of light. Or be able to swim alongside of this giant sperm whale. during during the specific time of the year, during December, January, or February, because this is when the large male come from the North Sea into Dominica to mate with the group of female that reside in Dominica. Or in Galapagos. In Galapagos, there are many boats. All of them take 12, 16, 18 people. I take only 8 people and go for 2 weeks because 1 week is not enough. And from these 8 days, we spend at this beautiful place called Darwin and Wolf to see the most action. And the most action can be very close with the hammerhead shark, be able to see the predation or how the marine iguana feed on the rocks. Event that happen only in the middle of the day at 11:30 every day. And of course, swimming alongside with the whale shark during the prime time of July, August, September. This is the prime months of the year we'll be able to see more frequently than not as many whale shark. The sardine one in South Africa. Ideally to go there for 2 weeks. But because of time and because of cost, I broke it down to 2 weeks trip. People can join for 1 week, or if they want to, they can join for the whole 2 weeks, but only 6 people on the team. Again, small number of people, a lot of action, one team after another, 2 people at a time, one after another. Wonderful looking and experiencing this barrage of gannet when they dive into the water with full speed, almost 90 miles per hour, dive down to almost 10 feet to feed on the sardines that this bride's well been feeding. And that's for the shark and the birds and the sardine all together. Last but not least, the trip that I just returned 2 days ago from a Rodney Fox expedition and diving with the great white in Australia. Everybody knows that Mexico was open for many years and it was wonderful, was very close to home, very warm water. And we're diving there. And as you already know, I had a chance to dive there or be able to develop the concept or break the mold to dive with a great white out of the cage. It is possible. However, if you're done with a good leadership and understanding of how a great white behave and how we attract the great white and how we keep the great white around. So creating a charm to bring the great white in, but giving bait to the great white and taking the bait out of the mouth create a drama, great aggravation that is not necessary. So here we are in Australia, just last week. This is Dylan, Jerry, and Arnav. And we have the only place in the world that there is a cage that can be lowered down to about 70 to 80 feet deep. And as you see the spring, you see the crane and the spring, and the people are ready to get into the cage. We lower the cage to the bottom, and the idea is to be able to see the grass that on the bottom. And I think Tim will be going in June, right, Tim?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll be going June, leading one group, and along the bottom of the to see this the shark moving along the grass, something you cannot see anywhere, not in Australia and not in Mexico. Mexico unfortunately closed. Australia, South Africa suffering because they've been found about 7 or 8 great white mutilated by orca, and orca taking their liver. So they left their original place out in Hasbai. They left the area, they moved into another area in South Africa where visibility there is very poor and very limited, if any, shark expedition taking place there, or for foreigner to fly on, especially to see a great white. But Australia is still functioning. From the first time I was diving with Rodney Fox, 1982, until today. See, it was a great reunion. We'll show you 1 or 2 pictures. That's what happened when the person came out of the cage from diving with a great white. That's what you see. Sometimes we saw more than 1 great white swimming along the bottom and together. And that's the group for last week, just last week. The 3 ladies the three ladies, Laura, this is Laura, and this is Kathy, and this is Ruth Ann, are from the middle of America, three sisters in their 70s. In their 70s, diving in 7-millimeter wetsuit, cold water of 60 degree, 55 to 60 degree water, and it was spectacular. And this is Jerry that was with us. This is the crew member. This is Kathy. This is the skipper, Billy. This is Arnav. This is Sandy from New York. And this is Dylan. This is the crew, Josh. This is Chris, one of the dive masters. This is girlfriend, Ashley. This is Maddie, the expedition leader. And that's myself. That's David out here on standing up, very, very tall. And that's the team, and that's how we conduct the trip. But, and here is the interesting story that I'm planning to do a trip together with Rodney Fox on board the trip in December 2025. It will be anniversary for the movie Jaws. It's the 50 years anniversary next year, and there is nobody in the world better than Rodney to tell the story about how Jaws was filmed, really, and what is generated or was created the movie for Jaws, and all understanding about great white like Rodney Fox. Rodney, besides being a diver and besides being beaten and have history, he is one of the first-class storyteller of ocean story, but authentically and without exaggeration, but in beautiful Australian accent. You can hear in my voice, I admire him. And as you see, the three of us, there is a museum, there is a shark museum, the only shark museum in the world in Adelaide, Australia, was actually contributed and delivered by a partner that was not here in the picture. His name is Mark. But in the picture, from the left, you see this Rodney's son, Andrew, Rodney in the middle, and myself. We visited the museum for us, and we were able to enjoy really history of all diving with great white and what happened to different parts of the element. Basically, what I try through the company to deliver and the picture that to share with you that all images are taken in their natural setting and all animals depicted are free and wild. And that's the only way which I will do it. My message or my support, my encouraging on the inspiration to people is to be force of nature, be kind, then be force of nature. What you are, each one of us is force of nature. Be kind and mindful for our environment and to the ocean and to each other. Too much with credit to my success is to the unsung hero, to the local support of the native, of the remote region of the world that I visited. People who guide me, protect me, and allow me to go to places where few ever been before. And few picture because they are the one that make it possible for all of us. Any one of us, for any diving trip that you have on the curriculum, there are the local people which make it possible. Not us American company that come there or bring our people there. The local people, try to work with the local people and give them the credit and also our good money to be able to make better life and to sustain the life they want to have. There's the Inuit. This is the guy in Tibet that helped me to be with the snow leopard. This is the team of the family that helped me to make the movie or made the movie. And that's, of course, Dr. Sylvia Earle today compared to the time of the picture I showed you earlier from 1980. She had also black hair then, now it is different color. And the movie and the book that I've created called Big, about most of the big animal that I photograph. I hope I've created a visual experience that inspires you. I want to awaken and connect us, all of us, to the mystery of the blue planet that with reverence and gratitude for life. If you want to see more of the work, biganimal.com, or go to, of course, the Blue Travel to the elite section, and you find a trip that Tim and his team, the team and his team is working with me together, and hopefully to be able to share with some of you this kind of experience. if you want to see the whole movie about what about my career, about my life, it's not just about my career, it's about my life in total. The name of the movie, Picture of His Life, is double entendre. Is a picture of my life and a picture of the life I wanted to make with the polar bear. The world is in our hand. Really, the world is in our hand. And we can bring with every camera or every picture you take or every experience you have back home to expand the message of conservation, to expand the message of respect to the environment and the joy of being in the environment. After the corona, we all understand now much better how profound is the environment to recovery and to our well-being. So thank you, Bluewater Travel, for having me as your guest today, and thank you very much.
I guess now we can open it up to anyone who has questions.
I'm here.
Yeah. Actually, I have a question. When is your trip with Rodney Fox next year?
Sorry?
When is your trip with Rodney Fox?
Oh, during the first 2 weeks of December. We don't have the exact right now. We are working on the particular slot of time, but will be in the first 2 weeks of December. You probably know, Tim, that it is all the encounter in wilderness in Australia, it is very well governed by the government. So they need to negotiate with the government the opening, because they don't want the government, rightly so, not to create continuous feeding or continuous chumming the water at the same place, not to create behavior of the great white. So the government control the timing. So it is somewhere between during the first 2 weeks of December.
You can take it with you.
Yes.
You have some to Lisa?
Another one.
Do you have a question, Derek? No. Okay. Jasmine, you had a question?
Do you have a minimum age requirement? Can children or teenagers join?
Depend on what trip, yeah. Depend on the trip. Any of the snorkeling trip, there is no limit. On a diving trip, you know, by the US laws, it has to be certain age or certain ability to go to certain depth. So I work by the law, and but when it comes to snorkeling, the younger the person will be better encounter with the animal, because animals love young people. And female in particular.
Oh.
Yeah. It is a proof. I've seen it many times when I went together with my girlfriend or other female on the trip. The animal behave much closer to the female rather to us male.
Interesting. Thank you.
How old is your child?
Oh, me, no children. It was just a general question.
Oh. Okay.
Amos, on your Galapagos trips, do you bring the guests on land and go see all the endemic like birds and iguanas and stuff like that?
On the Galapagos, because the trip is 2 weeks, and the person that owned the operation is one of the oldest one. Actually, is the oldest family, Engelmeyer family, the one that established resident on the island in the 30s. They have the original permit that allow diving and exploration on the land during the trip. So we have usually about 4 to 5 landing. Newpam, do you have any question?
I do. So I was actually wondering, you mentioned that, you know, when you're going in a blue water pelagic environment, that you found that there's still effects of divers being in that water. I was curious if you could elaborate more on that.
Yes. Well, what you see today, going to the high Arctic, diving with the orcas, or when you go to Tonga and to Tahiti, swimming with the humpback whale. tremendous number of boats and people, and lack of respect between boats. Every operator wants to give his people better time, closer to the animal, and chasing the animal at the same time, wounding the animal at the same time. As you see from my report, I've not talked about the orca, did not talk about the humpback whale, simply because I was the first one in the world to go to Norway in 1991, 92 to dive with the orca, and I don't go to, I'm not participating in this effect anymore, simply because I don't want to contribute if I can avoid it. It's not just about money, it's also about what I believe in and what I support. But we take people to some other places which are, like, for example, the Galapagos. They have a limit, they have a certain number of boats, or Antarctica, the same token, and the same thing to Dominica. The beautiful part of Dominica, similar to what happened in Uganda, Rwanda for the gorilla, there is a fee that I need to pay in order to have a permit to be with the animal. I encourage many countries in the world to do the same thing. It would be Timor-Leste to be with the blue whale, to be even Tonga, or even the Comoros, or even Cook Island. Please start protecting your natural treasure. Putting more and more people right now push the animal away, just like what's happened out with South Africa with the orca. Animal get wounded, they move away.
Right.
So it is something that we all, you, Newpalm team, we can all work together and promote this concept. Yes, you have a treasure, but protected. We are happy. I don't think anybody, well, look at the gorilla, look at Dominica. People continue go there despite the fact that the increase in cost because of we have to pay for permit. But you have a joy to be in the wilderness, a very natural situation, and not overwhelming by the number of people.
So I guess as a follow-up, I was curious, and I guess you kind of explained a little bit about that, but how do you choose a destination? Because often there's, you know, multiple places you can go to find a certain subject.
Okay, I choose the destination based on what I think I can do different. Like, for example, if we look at Galapagos or look at the Sardine one. First of all, I'm the only one that's offering 2 weeks trip, because 2 weeks is, if you are a photographer and you're really interested in wilderness, 2 weeks is ideal time. 1 week you're subject to weather, and weather pass and you almost disappear, hardly seen anything. But in 2 weeks, you have a very good chance, and I never missed for about the 10 or 11 time I've been there. I also, if the boat take 8, I put only 6 people on board. This is how I choose the destination. If I can work with the local operator and find with them what their deal, what they are willing to do, what they can do, what I can do on this side. Sometimes it may increase the, like for example, the Sardine one, it is increase the price of the trip because I still have to pay for 8. But I can do that and hopefully find the people that are mindset, have the same mindset as you and I have in this case.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. And I was curious about the Galapagos. I thought it was kind of interesting because I was always under the assumption that the government in the Galapagos was giving the route. So were you able to negotiate with the government to create that special route?
That is what I do. That is what many times I bring into the table after so many years of being there. They know me, I work with them, I support them with images and story or ideas, which all what they need and data. And they're open for me changing the itinerary and improving the itinerary, like having 8 days in Darwin and Wolf.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, and going to places that hardly anybody can go to, and that not just seeing the iguana, but seeing where the iguana jumping out of the rocks.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I haven't seen that.
Yes. We're sharing a lot of secret, but because of the respect to the organization and the desire for you or the people to know and to see the benefit or the difference of working together on some of those a particular trip or particular experiences.
Almost. You have 8 trips coming up. The sperm whales, blue whales, polar bears, orcas and mobilis, sardine run, Galapagos, great white sharks, and sperm whales. Which of those 8 is your favorite, the one you're looking forward to the most, and why?
Well, the one that I'm looking the most is the one I did not do yet.
Which is
No, because every time you go to the water is different. I maybe seen the animal before, but the behavior will be different. The lighting will be different. After all, I'm a photographer, and I come with photography mind to be able to bring a different kind of perspective on the moment of wilderness that I have a chance to photograph. So each one of them is special just because it is there. I can go out see them. It will not be the same as the time before. It's never the same. Like last year when we were together with the iguana, I did not have a chance to do a good picture like I did the year before that. They did not behave the same. There were some changes, either in me or either in the animal itself. But I was able to photograph I did not have the picture of the mola mola at 140 feet being on nitrax. Unheard of. Probably did not hear me. I mean, so every time it's something different.
Yeah.
And this is perhaps that is my downside. I am addicted to be on the water with the wilderness. In 8 times a year, so it gives me enough time to come home, to dry the wetsuit, and to go back out again.
So what is left on your bucket list?
Oh.
There are new things developing. One is to be able to go to Costa Rica and to be able to see the predation of the mobile array on the lenterfish.
Wow.
And hopefully also swordfish coming in to feed them as well. There is a major story and a major opportunity that happened only once a year during very specific period of time that call really for adventure soul to go to see what they call the blue whale cafe in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And there is a story, of course, the terrestrial animal to see the puma in Chile, and to develop a very unique story for conservation purposes, mostly after the clouded leopard in Borneo.
So, Amos, you take obviously amazing pictures, but you're also a huge conservationist. A lot of us here love to take photos. You know, some good, some not so good. But we're also, as divers, all very interested in conservation. But how do we the pictures that we take, how do we use those pictures to aid in conservation as like a amateur photographer? Because we all want to help.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost is the fact that you left home and you went to swim somewhere else in the world, and you come home either with picture in the mind or either the picture on the camera. And that's what you share with the people around you. So you already create a conservation effort, like we did tonight. You already create a story and to embed in people understanding that great white don't feed just because they see us in the water, that the croc do not feed in the mid-water. Now you know truly because you see in my picture that I swim with them, and so on and so forth. That's one. Second, do whatever you need to be done in locally. Don't have to go big. Either to support Mission Blue, that's why Sylvia Earle, I've been with her so many times, or support Sea Shepherd or other organizations such that you feel comfortable with their mission statement. The fact that I had 7,500 people traveling with me each one of them tell to their friends and their family. They were already expanded it by 5 or 10 or 20 times. Like what you do in the company in Bluewater Travel, you expand it thousands of times. And that is part of conservation already started. We just need people to bring to their mind, to people that been with you on trip, or Nachoum and me. When you go home with all your picture, with all your story, share it in parties. Let people understand what you went through. Have a bragging rights that you swam with Tim in Socorro tomorrow, and with a Monterey. Yeah, we need to encourage them to be like you and me. That we are not so special. Because we are 1 or 2 steps ahead, but bring people along line with us shoulder to shoulder, like what Nachoum does when he teaches photography.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Does anyone here have any other questions for Amos? No?
Okay.
Yeah. If you're good, Amos, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Bluewater Travel, again, we have a new line of elite expeditions. And just summarizing what Amos was talking about, the elite expeditions are really focused on interacting with and photographing a special big animal in their natural habitat. So, for example, blue whales or polar bears. These trips are very small group trips, which benefits the photographer, but also the animal. The booking process through Bluewater is easy and transparent. All you have to do is go to our website, and under trips, there's a drop-down menu for elite expeditions. You can look at all the elite expeditions we have, which we will be adding a few more soon. And of course, the most important is if you go on one of these elite expeditions, you get to learn from the man himself, one of the world's top wildlife photographers, Amos. So I don't know what other reasons I can give you to go on elite expeditions, but I think these are the top few. So Amos, thank you again for joining us. If any of you have any questions, we'll be sending out an email to everyone, kind of introducing ourselves, with links to the elite expeditions. Just feel free to reply and ask any questions you have, and we'd be happy to answer those questions and get you booked.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sandrine. Thank you, Tim and Nachoum, and everybody in the team that were and left. But it will be wonderful to see the record. And thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to share, and the enthusiasm on part of Bluewater Travel working together.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Good night.